think this has come down to alignment a little bit. How do these talented trainers call the lines in the losers semis? We're getting into game number 1, and there's a great lead from Inadequance. Shadow Charizard in the bench, but look at that.
Sparks on the stage, right? It looks like that is a safe switch into the knockdown there to meet the Charizard, gathering some additional energy, going into the Lantern, and you can see the expressions on stage as well. These trainers know how this matchup tends to go. Even given this energy advantage, it's going to be very hard for HotPoket to wiggle his way out of this matchup.
And these are the best of the best, so if anyone can wiggle their way out of this matchup, it would be these trainers. But look at the backline matchup too. Inadequance has Registeel for HotPoket, and HotPoket is grinning while he throws a sky attack, and it's no protect shielded by Inadequance, and now it's going to be on charge attack priority. It looked like this is going to be a Thunderbolt. It is no protect shielded. We're going to see how much momentum. Actually, an undercharge. Looks like Inadequance wants to go for a spark down.
Yeah, that was a very heavy undercharge. This will be a beefy spark down if Inadequance is able to pull it off, and he absolutely does. Surgical precision. In comes the Medicham, and all this energy is about to just wash over this fighting Psychic type.
That was a beautiful undercharge. It doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah.
Landing that last spark for a knockout right before the energy was available, and this is going to do a lot to the Medicham. You're going to get the double Thunderbolt before you get knocked out here, and barely gets to that next Thunderbolt. Maybe was hesitating for half a second in case there was a swap, and this Thunderbolt is going to land, and now the Medicham is almost out of the game. I mean, what's going to stop this Shadow Charizard?
Well, Medicham does have a lot of energy loaded, but not much HP. It looks like he's going to fire up the Psychic immediately. Wing attack does come through. That super effective damage. Protection goes up from Inadequance. We saw HotPoket considering the switch, contemplating sending out these Shadow Alola Ninetales. That's what he does, and guess what? Inadequance has all the answers. Here comes Registeel.
And remember, this is Charm Alola Ninetales, so the Shadow Charizard actually resists the Charms too. So Inadequance has 2 great matchups for the Shadow Alola Ninetales. Gonna actually no Protect Shield on this Weather Ball, and he's gonna be able to clean up with this Registeel. I expect there's probably gonna be no Protect Shield. No, actually, HotPoket is just gonna try to pull off a miracle. He's done it before, he's gonna try to do it again.
Hey, look, we see the Protect Shield there. No attack drop on that Shadow Alola Ninetales. Maybe trying to get back to the switch timer. But don't forget, Butters, that Charizard has done nothing but farm energy this entire game. It is loaded.
It's got a Blast Burn ready to go, and this was the last Protect Shield from HotPoket. So as soon as the timer is up, you could combo move it, but there is that Medicham at very low health for HotPoket as well, so you could swap and try to catch it. Here comes the Weather Ball. Registeel's getting a little bit low here. There's 1 Protect Shield remaining, but Shadow Charizard is going to have a really good time finishing out this matchup.
I don't think this will KO. The Charm will come through. Like you said, the catch was the win condition, reaching for the Medicham! Here comes a Dragon Claw, and that will connect. Staying alive, HotPoket lives for 1 more minute here.
Little cheeky Dragon Claw there, expecting the swap out, pretending like everything went wrong, and then landing the Dragon Claw. These trainers are loving it. These are some of the best of the best. Get a little fancy here in Hartford, day number 2, as Charizard knocks out the Shadow Alola Ninetales.
Some fancy footwork from HotPoket is not enough to win him the game. Martine using his own future sight to pick up on what he was trying to do and land that Dragon Claw. These trainers are just having a great time. I hope you are as well.
Yeah, this is a fun day number 2 in Hartford. And I think we're locked in to game number 2 of HotPoket versus Inadequance.
The table is set. Let's see what our lead situations are as we head to the field. Looks like Shadow Alola Ninetales for HotPoket versus Trevenant from Inadequance.
And it's not as bad because it is the Charm. You don't have to worry about that super effective Powder Snow damage. So you can maybe get a bait on the Seed Bomb and still get to the Shadow Ball. This is going to be a huge call by HotPoket. HotPoket does Protect Shield the Seed Bomb bait.
I think this is critical, right? These trainers know these matchups so well. I think HotPoket knows he can get to the Weather Ball here and force that Protect Shield back that he just gave up. That's exactly what he gets. And now Inadequance needs to land the Shadow Ball in order to KO that Shadow Alola Ninetales, or HotPoket can shield again and fight for switch advantage.
HotPoket really wants switch advantage in the back. Here comes the pivot. Inadequate thinking he's going to lose the switch advantage no matter what, so he might as well pivot into the Registeel, and that baits out the Trevenant. And this is best case scenario for HotPoket's Trevenant because now it doesn't have to face the Obstagoon.
Exactly right. Shadow Ball will connect here against that shiny Registeel that Inadequance just sent out. does deal a lot of damage, looking for the Zap Cannon almost immediately, and he fires it off here. We've seen how much damage this does. We know 2 charge attacks are needed to KO each of these Pokemon respectively. Does the attack fall occur though? Because last game it actually turned out pretty well for Hot Pocket. It does not.
You know, this is one of the most vocal games I've ever seen between 2 trainers, but
Yeah.
they're actually both getting more serious in this moment. They're talking less. They talked a lot in game number 1. Both these trainers won it. You can see the focus as the Registeel comes down. They're not talking as much. They're trying to win this game. And now the Trevenant is going to be able to throw the Seed Bomb into this Obstagoon. I think it's going to be able to get to another Seed Bomb, Speedy.
Yeah, 2 Seed Bombs are going to slowly chip away at this Obstagoon. Again, the counter is not really meaning much in this matchup, but the Night Slash will deal critical damage to the Ghost and Grass type. We don't see a catch attempt either. Going to go ahead and let another Seed Bomb actually Protect Shield up the second Seed Bomb. That Trevenant is closing in on a third.
I felt like a little confusion coming out from Inadequance there, and he's going to try to knock out this Trevenant or maybe catch a Seed Bomb. No, he's going to go for the knockout. There is 1 Protect Shield remaining. This is definitely going to knock out that Trevenant, and now he's going to have to clean up that really low health Alolan Ninetales with a cross chop. Instant pivot into the Trevenant. He's going to try to throw a move. He needed to get the Protect Shield down. Brilliant play by Inadequance. He gets the Protect Shield here almost every time.
Yeah, he absolutely does. Shadow Ball is going to get Protect Shielded up by the Shadow Alolan Ninetales. Going to look for a Weather Ball here, but the Obstagoon does have energy. Going to look for a cross drop any second, but he doesn't. Here comes the Weather Ball. This will connect and KO the Obstagoon.
Yeah, it's just going to take out Obstagoon, and Hot Pocket is going to tie it up 1-1. And the reason Inadequance didn't throw that cross chop to knock out is he knows there's a full health Pokemon in the back. At that point, yeah. Obstagoon is at about 40% health. It had a bunch of energy, but what is it going to knock out at that point? Even Bastion would win against that.
We have seen a lot of interesting dynamic matchups so far, but we have not seen anything like this yet. This is a decisive game. Number 3, Hot Pocket, Inadequance. Let's see what we get.
And this is Registeel into Trevenant. This is not looking good for Inadequance in the lead, and you see that Shadow Charizard in the back. You see that Bastion. This might come down to alignment in the end. How can Inadequance wiggle out of this? And the Trevenant is already going to throw that Shadow Ball. Do you see a Protect Shield out of Inadequance early in this game?
Well, you're ABA weak to Trevenant, right? So you have to stay in here with the Registeel. First, Protect Shield does go up. I think we see the Zap Cannon immediately. Again, great mechanics from these incredibly talented trainers. 1 extra lock on. It seems minor, but it could make a huge difference down the stretch. We'll connect the Zap Cannon. Do we get an attack fall? And we do on the first try.
And Inadequance is pumped by that attack drop. That's the thing that he wanted in this matchup because he desperately needs alignment. He cannot match up his Shadow Charizard against the Bastion in the back. It's not going to go well for the Shadow Charizard. And now that Shadow Ball lands onto the Registeel. Here's the next Zap Cannon. You have to expect Hot Pocket is going to give 1 shield back to Inadequance. And no! Out of nowhere, he actually lets alignment go.
Inadequance looked as surprised as you did, but look, then he switches in the Lantern. He sends in his Water and Electric type into this Shadow Alolan Ninetales, giving up the switch advantage he just fought so hard for.
What is happening in Hartford? Because Inadequance knows he most likely needs the alignment in the back. He doesn't know that Bastion is lurking, but you know Bastion's the MVP for Hot Pocket in game number 3s, and it's just gonna be the Bastion versus the Shadow Charizard in the end game.
Here comes the second Protect Shield, 2 shielding his Shadow Alolan Ninetales. Hot Pocket wanting to get the KO here on the Lantern. He recognizes that he has a good chance depending on what's in the back. Going straight for the Weather Ball here. I think it's going to get really wild in just a second because this will knock out, and guess what happens next?
Look how healthy the Shadow Alolan Ninetales is. I mean, I feel like you're gonna have to come in with Charizard, and he's gonna see it, and Inadequate sees it, and he's like, oh no! Shares a laugh, but it's a laugh of pain in the end because these Smackdowns are double super effective. He decides to throw a not very effective Dragon Claw into that Bastion.
To stall the timer, right? He goes for the Registeel now, and hold on a second, right? If you land, oh my goodness, he gets to the Flamethrower. If you land a Focus Blast here, is there a world in which Inadequace's Shadow Charizard can win this game?
Yes, there is a world. That was very smart. He was laughing, but this game's not over. It's not a laughing matter because that Dragon Claw put this Bastion low enough, maybe, and look at how he wanted to leave his Registeel with as little health as possible. And is this gonna knock out? He actually throws the Great, and it doesn't knock out, and he feels like he messed up a little bit. Here comes the smack. Down, and Inadequance is moving on. Or sorry, Hot Pocket is moving on. Bastion is moving on.
Yes.
in this tournament.
The Bastion train keeps on rolling. HotPoket just absolutely smothering his opponents with the rock and steel type Pokemon. He just cannot be stopped.